the White House has dismissed renewed allegations linking the U.S. President Donald Trump to the late financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, insisting he did nothing wrong. The controversy reemerged after newly unsealed court documents reignited public scrutiny over Epstein's connections with high-profile figures, including Trump and former President Bill Clinton. In a statement on Wednesday, a spokesperson said the accusations resurfacing online were baseless political attacks aimed at tarnishing Trump's image ahead of next year's election. The administration maintained that Trump had cut all ties with Epstein years before his 2019 arrest and subsequent death in a New York jail. And now, senior international correspondent and anchor Afua Hagan joins us for more on this developing story. Afua, these newly unsealed Epstein documents are explosive. What exactly do they reveal, and how is Trump involved in all of this that requires the White House defending him this much?
Tranche of documents relating to Jeffrey Epstein, tens of thousands of pages being released. And what we saw yesterday and into today is these emails being released. Now, these are not emails that have been sent or received by President Donald Trump, and we do have to make that clear. What is in this tranche of documents is emails between Jeffrey Epstein and other people like author Michael Wolff, and they talk about President Trump, discussing Epstein in relation to Trump's social orbit. One email claims that Trump knew about the girls. Without further clarifications, we don't know who he is talking about or what he knows about these girls. In another one of the emails, Epstein says in 2019, Trump came to my house many times but never got a massage. Another 2011 message from Ghislaine Maxwell, who is now in prison, to Jeffrey Epstein, described Donald Trump as that dog that hasn't barked, adding that Trump had spent many hours at my house with one of the victims, and that victim's name has been redacted. So we don't know who that is. There's speculation that it is Virginia Giuffre, but like I said, that name has been redacted on the documents, so we don't know who they are referring to.
Interesting. Now, Trump's team insists that he had nothing to do with Epstein beyond casual social contact, and that was years ago. What do the files actually show about their relationship, and does this change the public's understanding of how close they were, comparing what the file is saying and, what the White House is saying?
Yes, the White House insists that President Trump knew Jeffrey Epstein, was aware of him, but just in the sense that Epstein was a member at his Mar-a-Lago club and he'd asked him to resign. Now, Epstein says in these emails that he'd actually never been a member of the club, so we don't know if he was asked to resign. These emails show that Epstein and Trump were in the same social orbit. There's a suggestion that Trump knew about what was happening with Jeffrey Epstein and other girls. Like I said, there's just a suggestion. There is no inference that Trump was in any way involved in any of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes, but that they had overlapping social circles, that there was invitations, that there was social contact. It underlines that Trump and Epstein had been together at some points, that knew each other. This isn't quite the biggest smoking gun that perhaps some people were hoping for, have been wanting, have been looking for, but it does give the impression that Epstein and Trump were close. Something that was previously framed as a casual acquaintance seems to deepen the proximity that these two men had to each other. And in the world of politics, that perception is very, very important.
All right, News Central's international correspondent and anchor Afua Hagan, thank you so much for bringing us the update on that from the update on the White House.